All aboard the Redzone Express.
Wait, Troy, is that a train?
Oh my, is that the Redzone Express? Oh, Scott,
Yes,
we gotta
that's
catch
it. We have to run.
Let's go.
God, keep going. We're not gonna make it.
Okay, well, we're on. Scott, are you here? Are you here?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm here.
Okay, thank God. Well, I think it's time that we just get right into things.
All right, so let's lead things off with Jameis Winston. He was suspended by the league, or is going to be suspended by the league for 3 games following an inappropriate act that he did in an Uber.
Yeah, he grabbed this woman's crotch while they were at the drive-thru of a Mexican restaurant. His teammate Ronald Darby said it didn't happen, but you never really know. He said, she said. But either way, Jameis Winston is suspended for the first 3 games of the season. And the first 3 games of the season for the Buccaneers, it's the most difficult 3-game season opener in the Super Bowl era. They've got the Saints, who are 11-5, the Eagles, who are 13-3, and then the Steelers, who are 13-3. A .770 win percentage, the highest in, like I said, the Super Bowl era. So is it safe to say Jameis Winston and the Bucs are going 0-3 to start the season?
I think regardless of who is starting at quarterback, they're going to be going 0-3. The Bucs aren't a team that I particularly believe in going into next year. Their coach was on the chopping block. They only won 5 games last year. They won 2 with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And the rest of them were with Jameis Winston. So I didn't really have a lot of faith to begin with.
Yeah, no. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is presumably the starting quarterback, right?
Ryan Fitzpatrick is presumably the starter. You know, I just saw a thing a few days ago on ESPN. He is 1-8 all time against the Saints, Eagles, and Steelers. The only time he beat any of them was in 2011 when he was a Buffalo Bill and he defeated the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the only time in his career he beat either of those 3 teams.
Okay, so I guess the Buccaneers are looking for a little FitzMagic, but it is safe to say that he is breaking the record for his 1 millionth start as a backup QB, because seemingly wherever Ryan Fitzpatrick goes, he becomes the starting quarterback.
You say FitzMagic, I say FitzTragic.
All right, so Jameis Winston is a quarterback who had really high expectations and has kind of fallen flat, but a quarterback has really came onto the scene lately and been the opposite of Jameis Winston. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's 5-0 as a starter, went from the Patriots to the 49ers. Is he legit? I really don't know. What do you think?
I think he is legit. I mean, maybe it's his perfect smile that's kind of convincing me right now. But
okay, good
besides that, I think he's the kind of guy that players like to revolve around, and they trust. They know that he knows the offense. They know that he can win games. He's done so 5 times in all 5 of his starts for the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely
he's a natural passer, game manager, and a leader. He seems to be everything right now.
Yeah, aside from good looking, of course. But if you take the numbers from the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo and before they had him, they started off 0-9 and they finished 6-10 after he had a perfect 5 games. But just the numbers, they were 21st in the NFL in offensive yards per game before Jimmy, and then after they were 3rd. And in total quarterback rating, they went from the 28th worst in the league to the number 1 quarterback rating in the league for the 5 games that he played.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm saying that
I didn't realize that.
I'm saying he's legit. That those numbers are Pro Bowl numbers, and right now he's the highest paid quarterback in the league, or actually not anymore with Kirk Cousins, but right now he's the 2nd highest paid quarterback in the league and possibly the number 1 best looking.
He's getting a very big paycheck. I'll tell you that much. And I'll tell you what, his receiving corp is upgraded, I feel like, too. They have a 2nd rounder in Dante Pettis out of Washington. They upgraded with Jerick McKinnon, who is a receiving back as well as a running back. And let's not forget their sleeper receiving core already with Marquise Goodwin, who almost had 1,000 yards, Pierre Garçon, who was injured early in the year, and Garrett Selleck, who has been just getting better and better every single year at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the quarterback now in place, and then John Lynch, their general manager, really went out there and got the pieces in free agency, upgraded all across the board. Most importantly, they're getting better, especially with the acquisition of Richard Sherman.
The Seattle Seahawks are coming in off of a 9-7 season where they missed the playoffs. It's Russell Wilson's first ever miss of the playoffs.
They were
kind of a disappointing team.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure if they're going to make it back to the playoffs this year. Are they a playoff team, Troy?
I say probably not, because there's nothing that they've done in the offseason that makes me think that this team got better. In fact, I think they really got worse.
Yeah, I agree. They have a lot of missing pieces now. They got rid of Richard Sherman, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think most importantly, their offensive line didn't get much better. I mean, they got Dwayne Brown, a star left tackle for the Texans last year midseason. But besides that, I think they spent a fifth-round pick on an offensive tackle or an offensive guard, and that was really it. That was their improved offensive line.
Yeah, they signed.
And I think that's not going to go a long way.
They signed an offensive lineman, DJ Fluker. They also added Barkevious Mingo, Carolina Panthers, Ed Dixon, the tight end. But I don't think Ed Dixon is going to replace losing Jimmy Graham and Luke Wilson, who are both decent tight ends, if not elite, when Jimmy Graham is at his prime. And then they went and signed Brandon Marshall. That none of this says the Seahawks are a playoff team to me. So no, I don't think if they can even get to 9-7, it looks like the 49ers are going to be tough, and the Seattle Seahawks just don't look like they can compete in a tough NFC division.
Yeah, let's not forget about the Rams, too. The Rams made tons of acquisitions and trades and signings. They look elite, too. Just being in that same division, that's going to be really tough for the Seahawks to compete and win games in.
Yeah, talking about tough divisions, that division with the Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams, the Seahawks looked like they were going to run away with that for years to come. Now, the real up-and-coming division is the NFC South. The Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Buccaneers. Do you remember back in 2014, the Carolina Panthers won that division with a record 7-8-1? And then
I do remember that.
That sucked. And then recently, in the past 2 out of 3 seasons, the NFC South has represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. Both times they've lost, but still, they were there. Now this division is the best in football, arguably. The Saints finished 11-5, Panthers 11-5, Falcons 10-6, and the Bucs 5-11, so outlier there. But, I mean, this team, it could be anybody's guess who's going to win that division. Do you have any assumptions?
I think it's going to be the Saints again. I mean, the only time that we've seen a back-to-back division leader was the Panthers 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be the Saints this time. They really haven't gone down at all. I mean, Mark Ingram's suspension hurts for 4 games, but they're still on top of their game. I like this stat the most. Their defense really came together. They averaged 20.4 points allowed per game, which was 10th best in the NFL.
Okay.
And they had 20 interceptions on the year, which was the 3rd most in the league.
Yeah.
Now, I remember the past few years, the Saints defense has been trashed.
Absolutely trashed. With
so many yards.
Rob Ryan was their defensive coordinator, and they sucked.
Yeah, but last year they really turned a leaf with Lattimore, and they had Crawley. Now they have a first-round pick in Marcus Davenport. Things seem to be looking up right now. And let's not forget about Cam Jordan, too, the year he had. Things are going pretty well for the Saints. I have them as my winner.
Yeah, I would say between the Saints and the Panthers, for me, the Falcons look like they might be regressing, and the Bucs very clearly, like we talked about at the beginning, Jameis Winston is not going to be good this season. Do I think they're going to be the worst team in the league? I don't really know. The NFC is a lot tougher than the AFC.
Okay, so speaking of the worst teams, who do you believe is the worst team in the AFC?
Well, I think it's between the AFC East and the AFC North, which sucks because basically the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots are both going to win those divisions. But AFC East, the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins could all be the worst. And in the AFC North, between Bengals and the Browns, Browns have been the worst team for forever. But I don't think the worst team is coming from the AFC North. I think the worst team this year is going to be the Miami Dolphins.
Oh.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill, to me, is not going to be the comeback player of the year. Frank Gore is a laughable excuse for a primary running back at 100 years old. They lost Ndamukong Suh. They lost Jarvis Landry. They lost Pouncey, their center. So I don't really know what upgrades they made. It seems like everybody is headed out of town. But, I mean, you know, maybe good players come from the draft, but I don't know.
One thing I will say about the Dolphins is that their quarterback isn't Jay Cutler anymore.
That's true. So that's an upgrade because Jay Cutler was absolutely horrible. But so yeah, Ryan Tannehill, is he an upgrade? I'm not sure. You have to convince me.
Maybe not the biggest upgrade, but I'll tell you who didn't upgrade at quarterback right away. I think the worst team in the AFC is the Buffalo Bills right now. They got rid of Tyrod Taylor, and they drafted a quarterback in the first round. They still don't have a starting quarterback. They have Josh Allen, who they drafted in the first round. He's not going to be ready to start yet. They have A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman. One of those 3 is going to start week 1, and I can't wrap my head around that.
Imagine that you start the Bills as a franchise in Madden, and you see that your quarterbacks are Josh Allen, A.J. McCarron, and Nathan Peterman. Immediately, I'm trying to make a trade because that does not sound like a good cast of characters to me.
I'm going right to the trade block and looking for Colin Kaepernick. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick to the Bills. You heard it here first. Oh, wait. Is this our stop?
Already?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, that was quick.
Man, the Redzone Express is nice. Very luxurious. I love riding that thing. So,
really smooth ride, I'd say.
yeah, I loved it. So see you next week, I guess.
Yeah, same time, same place.
Yeah. Okay. See you later, Scott.
All right. Bye, Troy.